Good evening and welcome to the regular select board meeting of Wednesday, August 20th. We have CTSB here recording. Is anyone else recording? No? All right, then we'll move into announcements from the chair. I don't really have anything specific to announce, and if anyone else does, they certainly can. I will say, I think some of you are here to talk about the potential purchase and sale of the property on Housatonic Street. It is not signed yet, it's not completed yet, so we won't be commenting much on that until that is, but obviously during an open forum, you're welcome to chat for 2 minutes. Does anyone else have any announcements they would like to make?
Lobster Bake.
Yes.
Yes. VFW Lobster Bake is going to be on the 13th of next month, September. Saturday night at St. Anne's Parish Hall. So Louis Fortune down at Fortune Automotive has tickets. So give him a buzz and hope to see you there. Thank you. And thank you guys for your support. Appreciate it.
Happy to. Wonderful. Then I guess we'll go to approval of minutes.
I'll make a motion we approve the minutes of August 6th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm going to abstain, I was not at that meeting.
And that brings us to the Citizens Open Forum. Lennox residents are welcome to address the board for up to 2 minutes.
Good evening.
Good
Hello,
evening.
Olga.
Yeah, it's good to see you all. I'm just here because obviously
Just identify yourself for the...
What?
Just identify yourself.
Olga Weiss, West Street, Lenox. I'm here to make inquiry because we're very concerned, of course, about 51, and I want to know when we're going to handle it here in open forum.
Sure. Obviously, that process would start, unless I'm wrong, after the purchase and sale agreement has been signed. So it really kind of depends on that. And then I think once that's
And
signed...
is that imminent?
I mean, there's lawyers involved, so one would hope, but I don't know. I don't know how imminent it is. I mean, in an ideal world, it's in the next week, but it's
would be wonderful.
hard to say. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else for open forum? No? Then let's move into the consent agenda.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I'll read the consent agenda. We only have 2 items on here. First is an amendment to a special license from an original application approved 7/9/2025 for a 1-day all-alcoholic beverage liquor license submitted by Judith Nijame Zotto for August 29th, 5:30 to 9:30 p.m. and August 30th, 4:30 to 10:30 p.m. at 169 Under Mountain Road, Stoneover Farm, for wedding, rehearsal, and reception. The applicant has requested to amend the event on August 30th from 4:30 to 11 p.m., so adding a half an hour onto it is all it is. Special license request for a 1-day all-alcoholic beverage liquor license submitted by Rob Trask, Antimony Brewing, for Saturday, September 27th, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Apple Squeeze, which I believe they've done for the last couple of years.
Yes, they have. Second. Did you make a motion?
I didn't make the motion, I just read it.
Well, I second it.
So I'll make a motion.
Very well.
We do it all to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. General business. A discussion on the potential short-term rental general bylaw update for our special town meeting.
Hi, everyone. So here to talk about the ever exciting topic of short-term rentals or Airbnbs. So there's a lot happening right now in the short-term rental world. As I'm sure you're aware, a few years ago, the town adopted a zoning bylaw around short-term rentals. One of the major requirements there is that anybody that wants to rent an entire house, there's a time limit of 75 days, and then you can go up to 110 days if you get a special permit through our ZBA. To assist with enforcing that zoning bylaw, which was put in place to ensure that there's a supply of year-round housing for regular folks in town, we have been working with a company called Deckard or Rentalscape. Basically, it's a software program that allows us to monitor short-term rentals, monitor their usage, and it also allows us to help track the days that folks are renting these units. It provides a wealth of information. So shortly after the first of the fiscal year, we signed a contract with Deckard. And we're very close to having a system that's up and running, hopefully within the next month or so. I also point out this system comes recommended by our shared building department with Lee. Lee is also using this same Deckard Rentalscape system. And so in working on short-term rentals over the last few months, we've identified that there's probably no changes needed to our zoning bylaw. However, we also have a general bylaw that's enforced by the select board. The general bylaw right now just describes a very basic one-time registration process. And I think you should all have a handout that on the second or third page shows the existing general bylaw. It's very basic, it's very, very limited. I would like to make an effort this fall to beef it up a little bit, include some other requirements that would help with basic safety, allow for an inspection and enforcement process. Also would allow the select board to set a small fee potentially to recoup costs related to using Rentalscape or for the need for additional inspections. And basically just put some minor requirements in place that would kind of bring us more in line with how other communities are treating short-term rentals and regulating them. The general bylaw that I've provided tonight it's I think fairly basic. It's doesn't include too much that I think a homeowner would find onerous, but I'd love your feedback on it. And if it's something that the select board wants to continue working on, what I'd like to do is this fall, like in the next 2 or 3 weeks, hold a public forum for short-term rental owners to get some additional feedback from them, and also to talk about changes to the state building code, which now allow for or require a yearly inspection process for these short-term rental units, as well as require sprinklering.
Can you just expand on that a little?
Well, yes. Let me get through this, and then Matt can speak more to the inspection process and those other requirements. But yeah, I'd like to hold a public forum this fall in the next couple of weeks. We've been targeting Thursday, September 11th as a potential date for that. And then I'm hoping one of the select board members might be able to attend that meeting. And then we would adjust the bylaw from there. And sometime in October, the board could hold a public hearing and finalize the bylaw and put it on the town meeting warrant for November.
That's quick.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah, actually, I would, if you guys could push it back a week to September 18th or 19th, whatever that following Thursday is, that would be better for me.
Okay.
But, because I'd like to be at that.
Sure.
But I think this is really great, the new draft that you've come up with, and I especially like the fact that we're asking for the required list of the names of organizations if it's owned by a legal entity, because I think that's critical to get all the persons involved and know who the owners are.
Right. Yeah. One challenge is that a lot of times these things are owned by LLCs.
Right.
It's impossible to find who the real owner is.
Right.
I will mention, one point that could be a little bit controversial. I did speak to emergency services or police and fire about this. One of the things they would like to see is, like for instance, a whole dwelling unit that's rented out where there's no owner present, implementing a requirement for a monitored fire alarm system, so that if the fire alarm does go off, it goes directly to the fire department. They get contacted.
I saw that in here. So is the sprinkling in here too? I didn't.
No, sprinkling's not in here. That's more part of building code.
Okay.
And again, we can have Matt speak to that. He's the real expert on that. But
And that would go into the building code, not
not a general
general
bylaw.
bylaw.
General bylaw is more about operations, administration of short-term rentals, and separate from building code.
Just out of curiosity, what's the cost of putting in a ballpark, of putting in a detector or fire panel on something that's not being, versus sprinkling something?
I'm not exactly sure. I've seen prices range from a few $100s to a few $1,000s, with maybe $20 to $100 per month for a fee, ongoing fee. I'd like to do some more work to try to get a better number for that, but
Yeah, because we're all going to get asked about that.
yes.
Can I just have one question before Matt takes over and does his part?
Sure.
Just to clear my head here, this draft that you wrote up is in addition to the one we already have, or is this going to be the new one, or are you going to blend the two together?
I would like the new draft, the new general bylaw there to replace our existing general bylaw. I don't plan on touching zoning bylaw at all.
Okay. I don't think there's anything on here that's too onerous for anybody. I mean,
No.
this is all common
No.
sense, good housekeeping stuff.
I agree.
And I like the fact that there are enforcement mechanisms here, and the inspection is really necessary on an annual basis. I think that's great.
And when you combine that with the new software, it should actually
Yeah.
provide a pretty decent database that will allow for enforcement as need be, and also
Yeah.
give us just a good shot of, a snapshot of the inventory that we have. That allows, if we do get neighborhood complaints, et cetera, we have a mechanism to actually be able to address that.
Yeah, I'll say the number fluctuates from season, season to season, but when we were talking to Deckard Rentalscape earlier this week, there's about 137 listings that are active right now in town. And again, that number does go up and down throughout the year, but there's quite a few.
And just go over very high level how that software works, because I think that's very interesting for people to understand what it does.
So it basically just, I don't know what the correct term is, scours through these listings on Airbnb, VRBO, any of the websites that list short-term rentals. It takes a screenshot of any listing that's up or live. And so, so if we talk to a member of the public who's telling us, oh, I don't have a short-term rental at my property, we can say, well, our software program shows that you did, and it shows that the listing was active at this point in time, and that these days were booked, and that kind of thing. So they do use some sort of AI as part of what they do. That's beyond my pay grade, I guess, to understand it. But they do use a very sophisticated system to track the number of days that these rental units are booked, so we can have a pretty accurate way to enforce that 75-day limit.
Great. And is that cost, is that going to be pushed into next year's budget? Are we able to do that this year? Okay, we have it now, great.
And the cost,
There's a setup cost that we have budgeted, and there's an annual
Operating
recurring.
cost, yeah.
yeah, we're paying just under $10,000 this year to get that system up and running.
Great,
And
thank
we
you.
did that as a comprehensive technology review that we had when we built this year's budget, including the accounting software, the time and attendance system. We packaged it all together.
And we said we were going to do this all along.
Yes.
People been clamoring for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Keep everybody honest.
I feel like it makes it less esoteric. Short-term rental's always kind of been that, well, we know it's there, what's the role of the municipality in it? The software program with the updated bylaw will make it a little bit more tangible and be able to effectuate what we need to do as a municipality.
So Eamon, does this kick out a report every month as to how many short-term rentals have been active in the past month? Or is it something that you query when you need to or want to?
I mean, I think it updates on like a weekly basis or
Oh,
something.
great,
to that
okay.
effect, yeah.
Thanks.
So, and this is an off-the-wall question, and it may not be an answer, but is there a way of reconciling what this report is telling us with the taxes we're collecting?
Well, right, taxes come from DOR or through DOR. Basically, yes, we would have to. I think anybody right now that currently rents an STR, they have to obtain a DOR number.
Yeah.
So yeah, we could simply reference that or cross-reference that with what the Rentalscape tells us.
So the Rentalscape is showing more than what we're collecting, and we know we might have an issue, is that right?
Potentially, yeah.
Okay, so this makes sense then, right?
But it wouldn't identify individuals.
No,
It'd be a number on them.
I understand that, but at least we would know that we gotta do some more research and more enforcement maybe.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And if there's no other questions, I'll turn it over to Matt to talk a little bit about some of the changes to the building code, which are substantial.
Thank you.
I'm Matt Comer, the building commissioner.
Is that who you are?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure you knew. 'Cause, the one thing I can say about Rentalscape as well is it actually tells you where the SDR is, and you won't know that in Airbnb or whatever. You just say, hey, I want to book, and then they'll tell you where they're at. So that was one thing that I noticed about it when we went through it, but totally different point. Sure, I'm sorry, Olga. Does it work? So as far as the building code is concerned, on July 1, the 10th edition was adopted. 10th edition actually has provisions for SDRs, which it never really had before, and then we got some direction on it too. So the big changes is this idea that they have to sprinkler an SDR with a 13D, which is the lowest level of sprinklering, but still a sprinkler. I wish I knew a cost associated with that, and I can find that out for you. But that was the biggest thing.
But for any SDR or just ones that are where there's no owner on property?
Any SDR, yeah. There is a difference in the recurrence of inspections for owner occupied versus non. Non-owner occupied is annually. Owner occupied could go up to 5 years. So it kind of follows how we would deal with an apartment building versus a hotel room, basically. But the general gist of it is that the building code now it considers an STR a lodging house, and under the 9th edition, a lodging house had certain provisions. 13D sprinkler system was one of those provisions, and so because it's being treated as such, they're retroing it back to 2017. So any SDR in existence after October, I think it's 17th of 17, basically needs to have. So they're coming back. They're going back. I was gonna, with the late Chief O'Brien before he left, I had talked with him. That was the wrong term. As soon as I said it, I was like, that was the wrong term.
You may take exception to that.
He'll come and haunt me. I know it. But anyway, he and I had spoken about how to deal with this because fire also has to join us in these inspections, and we were trying to figure out how to make it as painless as possible. But that's where we're at the moment. And so those are the two big deals: is the inspection aspect of it. That they added it to our 110 inspection list, and then the sprinkler system. So. I've talked with Eamon a little bit. I am trying to work on some way to offer an appeal process or something. It has to go to the state because it's a state building code issue, but some out of the box thinking we're trying to do to try to, not shut down SDRs. So.
Well, we won't be the only jurisdiction dealing with this.
No, it's statewide.
Yeah.
So in this, and the direction we got came from the OPSI, we call it, it's OPSI, which is the, I can't remember what it calls it, it's OPSI. But that's made it kind of tough because it took all of the kind of, there's a lot of points in the building code where I have a little jurisdiction to say, hey, this situation is a little gray, let's deal with it this way. Yeah. This made it super black and white, and it kind of took it out of my hands, which I didn't appreciate, but my feelings aren't important in this.
What's your feelings from talking to your counterparts in other towns and cities? How people get this a lot all of a sudden?
This is a lot. It's a lot from an enforcement standpoint, because a lot of inspectors have called for extra help because of it. I'm not going to do that right now because I think at the moment we got it, but it's going to, Eamon said I think there was 170 in Lenox. There's probably about that many in Great Barrington. Lee had somewhere around 60. So, you figure you're going to add that many annual inspections to our plates. It's a lot of work, and there's the whole registration process. So now we have, there's other staff that are going to be impacted by this as well.
But I mean, the sprinkler part of it. How are people going to get that done?
Correct.
Not enough sprinkler people.
That was one of my issues with it is. It's hard to throw this kind of regulation out there without, this happened when all of a sudden they had to restaurants had to wash their hoods. There was there are hood cleaners out there, they have to be licensed by the state. All of a sudden, every restaurant had to have this done quarterly, and the fire departments were told, okay, you got to look for this, and we were told, okay, make sure that these are done at your annuals, and half of them were like, I called them 6 months ago and they're still not here, and that happened a lot, and I think that's going to be what we're dealing with here. So I am trying to work in the hopes that I can allow an SDR in the short term to go on as it is normally, and then say, hey, here's your certificate, here's your Lenox, golden seal, but next year you need to have this done. If in every situation, I've always worked with them to say, oh, we called them up, we met with them, as long as they're moving forward, and I know this is happening, I always let it go and work with it to keep it moving. But how the repercussions of this are really yet to be seen, unfortunately. But
And, the short-term rentals, as Dave's point, they do contribute to that lodging, local lodging tax income. And when there's a barrier like this put up by the state, that makes it probably cost prohibitive to create a short-term rental and do that. Two things, it could affect our lodging inventory here, which affects the occupancy rate, which affects the lodging tax income, but also it does create almost a black market, if you will, and jeopardizes the public safety aspect. The reasons for the regulations are to ensure public safety, no different than what we do with an inn or a regular hotel. But now you're asking a homeowner to put in this very expensive system, but yet they're still lured to want to see the income for the short-term rental. They will likely try, it's creating almost a structure trying to bypass the regulations and having somebody look at it for life safety concerns. That's actually what we're trying to do, is make it upfront, make it easy to understand, get the inspector in once a year, you're good, you have fire extinguishers, you have means of egress, etc. Now the state is putting this onerous requirement, expensive requirement, right, wrong, or indifferent. And if people can't meet that, they're going to be out of the business, out of the short-term business, which affects the bottom line of the town, or alternatively, it creates unsafe lodging establishments.
How do I police that?
It's, the building code has been an issue for a long time in terms of stunting development here, particularly in the Berkshires with the triggers. It costs more to, develop here in the Berkshires than elsewhere, and it's I don't know. It's a great question, Dave. It's the heart of it.
I mean, you can't have people's inspectors sitting outside everybody's house, looking
Right.
for out-of-state cars.
Right.
relying on neighbor complaints and reports, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're not in the short-term police business.
And
We're
then there's
in
nothing you can do. I mean, you can't barge into somebody's house and just.
Yeah, for the most part, I can only observe what I can see from a public way, or I can send a letter based on, a report and just say, hey, you know what, you need to come talk to me, because I'm not going to find somebody based on somebody's hearsay either. So I usually send out a letter, say, hey, this is what we've been informed of.
Right.
Come talk to me, and we'll see what's going on. But
Jay's point's well taken.
yeah. Maybe we can just flood the state with appeals.
I'm sure they will be.
Yeah, I think
They ask all the
that's.
time what our thoughts are on the building code.
Oh, I'm sure they do. Yeah.
Probably in other directions.
Yeah.
For quite a while.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, good luck with that, man.
All right, I think our next regular meeting is scheduled for September 10th. And if there's nothing else, we'll, the motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.